alaikum. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah and that Muhammad is his servant and messenger. I'm Sister Charlene Muhammad. Welcome to Liberated Sisters right here on the Closing the Gap Network. Today we are talking about the Nation of Islam, Los Angeles, Muhammad Mosque number 27's Walk for Peace. That's Los Angeles, the Nation of Islam. We are walking for peace on this Saturday, November 11th. And he will be joining us momentarily to talk about that. Our student Western Region Representative, Student Minister Abdul Malik Saeed Muhammad is here to talk with us about that. So thank you so much as we bring in our co-host for today, Brother Sultan Muhammad. Brother Sultan, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. And may I too, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad. I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, oh, that beautifully gifted and great guide, eternal leader, eternal guide for the Nation of Islam, and for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Messiah of them both, that one that we all know and have had an opportunity to know him personally. We've had an opportunity to know him up close, as the world will be able to bear witness in time that we have not had a greater representative, a greater intercessor, a greater one to represent us and to stand with us between and with the God and to present us to the world in our submission as the vanguard of a new world.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Brother Sultan. As we bring in our brother, Student Minister Abdul Malik Saeed Muhammad, I'm looking everywhere. Later in the broadcast, after his segment, we're going to be speaking to Final Call contributing writer, Brother William P. Muhammad, and he's going to be speaking with us about a current issue, a current article on a suspected in custody death that took place in Macon, Georgia, and it lingers on 23 years later. So that will be later in the broadcast. But for right now, thank you, Closing the Gap Broadcast Network, Student Minister James Muhammad, Student Minister Chad Muhammad, and our sister Starla Muhammad, who is also the managing editor of the Final Call newspaper, for making a way, and all of the producers and other hosts and producers at Closing the Gap, so that Liberated Sisters could also be here with you. And without further ado, we want to welcome Student Minister Abdul Malik Saeed Muhammad and ask you to please spread the word that he is on right now and that Los Angeles is walking for peace. Brother Minister, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Thank you for being here.
It's an honor to be on your show.
Wonderful.
Charlene, but I too, like the both of you, would like to certainly start off in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, who came to us in the person of Master Father Muhammad. How can we thank him enough for raising from among us the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, who is the exalted Christ, the eternal leader of the Nation of Islam. We're so much in debt to both of them. Yes. I don't have nothing to pay the two of them for what they did to us by giving us undeserved mercy and raising for us the Messiah in our midst today. As Brother Sultan said earlier, the world will soon know who this man is who have been in our midst. That man is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and I greet you, your audience, Liberated Sister and Sister Charlene. I want to thank you for your body of work, for your sacrifices, to be a contributor to what I know to be the only newspaper on the planet that don't tell lies.
That's right.
That is the Final Call newspaper. And it has been an honor for me to have known Brother Sultan all of my Islamic life.
And mine.
Wow.
You know, he was in the nation when I came. And to watch him on his divine assignment,
Mm.
being with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and up close and personal. I mean, just what he just here and
Mm.
just being an innocent bystander, probably he could write volumes of books on walking with the wise one in our midst today. So I greet all of you. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa
Wow.
alaikum salam.
Thank you, and all praises due to Allah, Brother Abdul Malik Saeed. I like to say the whole name too. So we'll get right to it. We are walking for peace in Los Angeles, and Brother Student Minister, would you let us know how did this come about? And Brother Sultan will continue us on into the discussion as I take care of some behind the scenes activities.
Yes, ma'am. Well, you know, since I've been in Los Angeles now for nearly 3 decades, and the majority of my work, the minister commissioned me to go to the streets, to stand between the gangs and the guns, the gangs and police department. And he also said to me, brother, work diligently in resolving the conflicts by bringing the Black and the brown together. So the 30 years of doing this work, Sister Charlene and Brother Sultan, Allah has blessed us to where I've been blessed to help so many. We have brokered well over 100, you know, gang issues in the city of Los Angeles. And some of the work also includes comforting the mothers and those who have lost loved ones due to gang violence. And this has been a brunt of my work. So this last month represented 15 years that we were doing peace rides. And those peace rides have not stopped. And I was blessed to win the Freedom Medal. And I tell you, just following Minister Farrakhan's guidance. And so this weekend, you know, our mosque, we doing this as a fundraiser. And the community of whom we have served for nearly 30 years, when I brought it to the mothers and the gang interventions and those who do the peace rides, I said, you know, we need your help now.
Yes.
And I said, we're going to do a walkathon where the members in our mosque will do a 5-mile walk. And would you all sponsor us a particular dollar amount for every mile we walk? And in that 5-mile walk, well, we use the number 5. You know, in the nation, we love numbers. And 5, it justifies our existence. So every mile we're going to stop. There'll be a pastor who will pray for the families in that area who've lost children to gang violence. And then the next mile, every mile we're going to stop. And there'll be a different pastor that will pray, Catholic, Methodist, Baptist, Muslim. And so every mile we'll stop, we'll pray, and then the families will hold up the pictures of those loved ones. But the beauty is that the members of Muhammad's Mosque have gotten hundreds of people to donate and to sponsor them. And we've raised a considerable amount of money to put in our building fund because, inshallah, we intend to raise money to build a new school, mosque, and community center where we can better serve the greater Los Angeles area. So that's going to take place this Saturday. We're going to walk from the community center at 8031 South Vermont Avenue. We're going to walk through all of the particular bigger gangs, and we're going to end at Centinela Park in Inglewood. And once we get to the park, at the park, not only will we pray for peace in the streets of Los Angeles, but we're also going to be praying for peace for the entire world. And so that's going to happen this Saturday.
Well, you know, my dear brother, I have a certain love for Los Angeles, and this is where I began in March of 1981. And I know what that city is like. And I know how hard the work is to do, especially with respect to the different organizations. And I have seen many of the results of your work, and I know how difficult it is. But I understand, my dear brother, that you have brokered peace with pastors, you have brokered peace with our street organizations, and you have brokered peace where there's been a need for peace. And I do remember that it was even requested by the mayor, I think, and was that the police chief for your help at a specific time. Can you remind us of that, please? And what were the circumstances?
Yeah, well, actually, it was 3 different times. Um, I was called in to stop riots, but the biggest of those happened to be centered around the murder of Nipsey Hussle. When Nipsey Hussle was murdered, I mean, the love that poured out
Mm.
in the city of Los Angeles, we've never seen that. In fact, I didn't know that brother had that kind of influence, even though I had been mentoring him for years. And I would say 20, 30,000 people gathered at the site where he was murdered. And we had a vigil. It was on a Monday, and therefore I had to leave after we finished to go to class. But as soon as I left and some of the FOI left the area, there was an incident between the Rolling 60 gangs and the police. They didn't handle the situation correctly. So I'm in FOI class and I get a call, and it's Mayor Garcetti and Chief Moore. And when I answered the phone, Mayor Garcetti, I mean, was even sound like he was crying. He was so
Mm.
upset. He was like, "Minister, brother, I need your help." I'm like, "What's wrong, Mayor?" He said, "When you left, all hell broke loose
Mm.
in that area, and I'm afraid that a riot is about to break out. Please, I need you to go back to that area if you don't mind, because you're probably the only one they will listen to." And I couldn't believe it. I said, "Hold on, Mayor." And we were in class, and I put him on the speakerphone so other brothers could hear it.
Yes, sir.
And he repeated it again. And I said, "Mayor, you know, I don't mind going, but will I have the cooperation
Yes.
from the LAPD?" He said, "Well, I happen to have Chief Moore. He's listening."
Mm.
And Chief Moore came in and he said, "Minister, absolutely, you have my 100% support." He said, "In fact, I will get in touch with the commander of that area. And when you go back, all of them will be under your control."
Mm.
I'm like, "Okay." I said, "Well, I'll go and assess what has happened and we'll help, because we don't want to see anyone hurt." And Brother Sultan, when we went to that area to see thousands of people, when nearly probably we had about 110 brothers. And when we showed up, the cheer from the crowd, it
Mm.
touched the brothers so deeply that many of us had tears in our eyes, and the people opened up like the Red Sea. And when they saw the police cooperating, the brothers was like, "Man, that's gangster, man." They got. And
Yes, sir.
so the police chief listened. He listened to our student regional captain at the time and Brother Shahid. They assessed, And when we gave the police what we thought they should do, in fact, the mayor and the police chief said, no, minister, we would like for the Nation of Islam to handle this for the next few days, and we will be out of the way. So our captain had a command post and the LAPD, anything we instructed them to do, they did it. And it was a great relationship, and it worked. We had not one incident after that. No incidents.
Well, I have to say, I had the great pleasure and honor of being there. And of course, with the love that I saw for the minister,
Oh,
the
yeah.
respect that I saw for the minister, and I thought that if we were able to arrive at such beauty in our relationships and opportunities in our relationships in all of our cities, with, of course, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan at the head of our campaign, we could
Absolutely.
really bring peace
Absolutely.
to this country. And certainly we could bring peace to our people.
No, you're right, brother. When the Honorable Minister Lewis, because he spoke at Nipsey Hussle's funeral, and the minister wanted, our leader, brother.
Yes,
He's no cat that sit up in some ivory towers. He said, "Take me to the streets."
that's right.
And when he showed up at the scene where Nipsey Hussle was murdered, brother, I'm talking about killers.
Yes, sir.
Crying, falling in his arms. One dude, they call him Mad Ronald. Nobody had ever seen him smile or cry.
Yes, sir.
And that brother, we have pictures of that brother falling in the minister's arm. And the healing that took place was immeasurable. And of course, Brother Sultan, he spoke to the crowd. It was as if the people, they couldn't believe that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan would come to the streets and comfort the people, man. It was the highlight of my life and many others to see him come to the streets and work with the common poor Black man and woman. I learned a lot.
And I have to say, my dear brother, I was so proud and I felt so good because we were among the people.
Yes.
And the love that the people showed, the respect that the people showed, and how things were quieted when they knew that you were there, but when they knew that he was there, the love that I saw, our brother showed him, and in the private sets that he had with those who wanted to see him,
That's right.
and with the family, and the words, the beautiful words to the family, the love and the depth. And the reason that I'm even bringing it up is because of the great work that was done, is done, and have to be done, and how you obviously have represented him to the people. But if he is so represented to the people, how it brings our issues quickly, would be so quickly to resolution.
Yes. Well, Brother Sultan, he is the guide. And if we follow him to the best of our ability, for me, I attempt to beg Allah all the time to bless me with the character of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I've never met a human being. I didn't have the great pleasure of physically meeting the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, but I've met him. I never thought in my life I would meet a man, and I know the minister probably wouldn't want us to say this, but in my eye, a man almost perfect for this time and our people. And everything he has ever told us would happen and will happen has happened.
Yes, sir.
And as a result of following that guidance, the love that the people have for the nation of Islam in this city, brother, in my opinion, is quite unprecedented.
And I have to say that who I want to say was a very arrogant brother, I want to say was, I have, because of my experiences with him and with others, I've met, including yourself, some of the greatest men and women on planet Earth.
Yes.
And I'm saying this for all of our viewers, that in order to bring the best out of ourselves, whoever we are, wherever we are, and even looking into this way, and even thinking any of the thoughts given by such a man, gives us advantage not only in the world, but gives us advantage with true growth. And I have to say, my dear brother, I have watched you grow and grow and grow. I've watched others grow and grow and grow. I have found in those that I have been able to see and to meet the greatest of men and women that I know on the face of the earth. So I know more now about the stars. I always knew the star, and we're learning now about the stars and our responsibility, or the star's responsibility, in being the greatest example we can be in order that we can actually save our people. But now, in that newspaper I just saw flashing, I saw you with several of our entertainers, my dear brother. So tell us something about the relationships and how they have helped to develop the city.
Well, years ago, Brother Sultan, I was instrumental in helping the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan bring together the East Coast and West Coast rappers to Chicago at a time when they were really,
Yes.
using their lyrics as a weapon towards each other, causing their followers, to have issues with the rappers. And so I was blessed to get some of the top rap artists to come to Chicago, where the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan brokered peace. And as a young student minister, I was able to watch him and how he, just pierced through their division and brought them to the least common denominator. And then you saw Ice Cube, you saw Common, you saw Russell Simmons at the time, the Snoop Dogs at the time, the Booyah Tribes, the Fat Joe. To see these brothers settle their difference, and I'm taking notes. And so I took that and brought that back to Los Angeles, and I use that now with the young rappers and the entertainers. And as a result of bringing the East Coast, West Coast together, there are several documentaries that came out, one called Beef, Beef 2, and I was highlighted in those videos. And I've appeared in at least 4 gang documentaries. And so now many of the hip hop artists call me when they get in trouble.
Yes.
And I have been blessed to stop some of the beefing in Los Angeles between various rap artists, of which I won't call any names.
Yes,
In
sir.
fact, Nipsey Hussle, that young brother, he's in the Rolling 60s gang. And if you remember in 2005, Brother Sultan, me and some of the brothers had an altercation with the LAPD in the Rolling 60s neighborhood.
Yes, sir.
Where I went to a prayer vigil after we had protested the police using excessive force, and they were found guilty. The next day, there was a murder in the Rolling 60s neighborhood. I didn't know, but Nipsey Hussle was 11 years old. He was there on the scene when the police handcuffed me and the brothers and kicked our teeth in. He watched as that was going on, and years later at Crenshaw High School, he invited Trayvon Martin's mother. And when we walked in the gym, Nipsey Hussle grabbed the microphone to say that the Nation of Islam just walked in the room, and he told the audience why he loved the nation and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He said to the audience, I was there when this man at that time, Minister Tony, was beat by the police, and that's why we love him. And when that meeting was over, he came to me and other artists, and he said, brother, I need your help. He said, will you mentor me? I said, of course, brother, that's my job to serve you. And we exchanged numbers. He said, I'm serious. He said, I'm interested in the teachings. And that's how he and my relationship started. And the first conversation he and I had was, he said, brother, my father used to bring me to the corner of Crenshaw and Slauson, and he used to make me and my brothers watch the brothers sell paper and pies. He said, my father said to us, that's how you get your hustle on. He said, that's how I got the name Nipsey Hussle, watching the Nation of Islam sell papers and pies.
All praises due to Allah.
I said, wow.
Well, I had to be out there at that time.
Huh?
I said I had to be out there at that time.
Yeah. And so we made sure he got all the books of the Messenger, and he studied, man. And he would call me every now and then with questions because, you know, we were helping him while he was in the studio. So, because he couldn't come to the mosque, I said, no, brother, you study and you call me when you have questions. And that's how he and my relationship, and he would bring other artists. And so, you know, Brother Sultan, I've been blessed to help so many artists. We've stopped artists from being extorted. I pulled artists or helped to get artists from being put in trunks of cars because, you know, gang members out here will extort you.
Yes, sir.
And so anyway, you know, here's what I will say. It wasn't really nothing that I did because Minister Farrakhan had already gone ahead of us and planted the seed in these young brothers. Only thing I did was help harvest it. So the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan made my job easy. All I had to do is reflect him and have his character and not get with these brothers trying to get money. No, I'm here just to represent the word to you. I don't want nothing from you other than to help you be a productive human being.
Yes, sir. And it appears too that.
Well, one second, Brother Sultan. Let me just, pardon me. I just want to say I showed the picture of Brother Minister and the game, Brother Minister Malik and the game. I didn't want to insinuate that he was the one that was being kept out of the trunk of the car. It was just, you know.
Oh, no.
But go ahead, Brother Sultan. Go ahead.
I was just going to just say that it appeared that this was one of the better times with the relationship with the administration of the city. And I know that things have changed now. Administrations have changed. Has there been any leaning of the present administrations to help with the work that we are so successful in doing?
Well, the beauty of the work, Brother Sultan, is our mayor, who used to be the Congresswoman Karen Bass, has a great respect for us.
Yes.
You know, 30 years, I've never asked any of them for nothing. This is the first time. in nearly 30 years I've ever asked. So we have a meeting scheduled with her and her staff. And when I called her staff to just say I would like to meet, all of them take meetings with us. So I would say the relationship is good. And I believe good is going to come out of it. Minister Farrakhan said this to me after Nipsey Hussle's incident when he came out here and he saw and felt so much love. He said these words to me, Brother Sultan. He said, brother, you or the believers are not going to want for nothing. They're going to help you in this city, brother. Oh. He said, watch. He said, when you need help, and he reminded me of what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to him. Brother, if your car breaks down and you're sitting on the freeway and you don't get out and open the hood, how would anyone know you need help? He said, when you open the hood, brother, what you have done to help this city, they owe you.
That's right.
And so now we're opening the hood because now, you know, we're in need of a new mosque, school, and community center where the community center will be used to train our gang members in the 17 construction trades. And so now gang members coming out of prisons or those coming out of prison can route right into our programs and become productive citizens by becoming brick masons, electricians, carpenters, making nearly six-figure salary a year. And I'm working out a deal with the city to where now our construction companies will be able to get subcontracts of anything that's being built in South Central. Because the minister said to us years ago, you know, he said, brother, we should be involved in building the wasted cities.
That's right.
See, that's biblical. That never left my mind. And so now I'm trying to help bring that into reality, where now the gang members can now help to rebuild areas that they helped to destroy. So that's what we're working out. We don't have all the details now, but we're just now opening the hood. And let me say this, people, it's almost like a young man said to me last night, a brother who's got good means. He said, brother, you all carry yourself so good. I never knew you needed help. See, he said, I've been wanting to help. I just didn't know how to approach you all.
That's right. That's right.
What?
Yeah, you know, look,
down.
when God bless you with the spirit, even if you don't have the means, even if you don't have a mosque or a building, it's not about it's, you know, we don't look poor. We don't carry ourselves poor. Why? Because we got a rich spirit and we got a rich faith. And now that we're showing the people they can help us, I haven't seen, Brother Sultan, not one person hesitating in trying to help us.
Well, I certainly pray that you all will be most successful, and we expect that you would be. There's always somebody somewhere lurching in the lurch.
Of
so
course.
We know that that's going to be there. We know that that someone eventually will show their head or heads. But I am really happy to hear that such is being done. Now, tell us about some of the people who will, you say you're going to march for 5 miles. Walk. I'm sorry.
It's a
walk
5
for
mile
5
walk.
miles and stop
walking
at each mile.
slowly,
Thank
right?
you for correcting.
Walking slowly, right?
Yeah, because
on both walking and walking slowly.
We have a beautiful logo where everybody will have this logo that says I am peace. And it's I am, but it's the peace sign. But the peace sign, if you look at it, it really is mosque. It says the number 27. And so
well, you know, we should have that so we could show it to people.
Oh yeah. and
I
and
know.
so
Let me see.
anyway, we're gonna walk slow because we're gonna talk to people as we're walking. We want to see people see us supporting the mothers and fathers who've lost their children to gang violence. We're going to be handing out the Final Call newspaper, handing our flyers out to the community. As people come out of their doors, we're going to stop and hug them. See, it ain't no race.
Yes, sir.
It's a walk to hug
Yes, sir.
our people, a walk to touch our people and to come in contact with them. We're going to have placards up. We're going to have people blowing their horns for peace. So it's going to be a slow walk to Centinela Park.
Slow walk. Are we able to show? I'm not sure if we're able to. We're not debuting yet any of the logos or anything just yet, right, Brother Minister?
Yeah, if you have them.
Okay. Well, I'll be back.
She'll find them.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So as we look, ahead, and the city of Los Angeles is such a great city with such great people. And the relationships seem to be um, really building. Uh, and how do you, not how do you, what are your expectations for it?
Well, my expectations is very, very high, because number one, we know the love of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And I know not just from him, but our National Council. I just love my nation.
Yes, sir.
And I love everything about it. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that, brother, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that there will be 4 cities that have to stand no matter what happens. And he named those 4 cities and possibly 5.
That's right.
One, of course, being our headquarters, Chicago, New York, Atlanta, and Los Angeles, and possibly Detroit. Well, that makes us a pillar, one of the strong pillars that have to stand when he leaves us for a minute and come back, of course. And so what I see faith, Brother Sultan, building in the members of Mars 27. I see belief strengthening in the members of the believers at Mars 27, with the greatest hope is that Minister Farrakhan's spirit will start growing in us. See, it's not about a building. The greatest building where the work can be built is in the human being.
Yes, sir.
See? And so if Christ is forming in the people, buildings are easy to come by. and that's what we're seeing, and we wanted to show our headquarters and our leader that Los Angeles, we're not just going to wait, we're going to do our part too. See? So that when Chicago said, okay, we want to help, we can say, well, Allah has blessed us to raise X amount of dollars already. See?
That's right.
And that's the beauty of our nation. And that's the beauty, of our leader, because we don't desire to be a burden. We want to be a great help. So I see a lot of help. And of course, we're getting ready to go into the Savior's Day dry period.
Yes, sir.
But we have a lot of stuff planned for the latter parts of the early spring, early summer. We have some big thing planned, and we have Brother Sultan. I'm not going to call any names, but there are some people who want to meet with us, and they want to help us, to make our vision a reality, that our nation will be proud of Mars 27.
Yes, sir. And I think this is what the first time, she just put it up.
Yeah,
So I
that it
see.
says, if you look at it, it looks like it says I am peace, but it's also say I am 27.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See, and you know, brother, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad Mosque, number 2 is Chicago. And Chicago is the head. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, of course, New York was Mosque number 7, and it was the heart of the nation.
That's right.
Well, we have both of those numbers, and we believe we want to be the example of the heart and the head coming together. And so when you got 2 and 7 coming together, you got peace, you got completion, you have 9, you have a new beginning.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And we want to brand this logo. So now those gang intervention, those that are working to broker peace, we are saying to the gang members, anybody you see wearing this, hands off. See, hands off. These people are saying, I'm peace. I am peace, brother. See, so we want to brand that and make that neutral. So that if I'm pumping my gas and a gang member come up and he see that, okay, that brother don't bang, that sister don't, have to leave him alone. That's a safety zone.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I'm back to some of the brokering of peace that I've been hearing about, and what about some of that with pastors?
Yeah, well, we have a beautiful relationship. We're probably going to have right now probably about 12 of the top pastors will join us. And when I say pastors, I'm talking about Black, brown, and Asian. Because, we brokered a beautiful relationship with our Asian community. In fact, we got 4 Chinese members processing right now.
All praises due to Allah.
Because when there was this mass murder that took place at one of the elderly dance halls, I went to represent the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and we laid a wreath and candles at the site where the Asian, and we took about 40 or 50 members of the nation and the Asian community just started crying because the Nation of Islam showed up to embrace them
and showed love.
Yes. And so we want to show that multicultural, that 400 million coming together. So there'll be pastors, there's going to be those in gang intervention that will be there. We're going to have some political persons that will be there, so we're going to have law enforcement will be there. So
will it be anything live, or would it? You will have.
It will be Facebook Live. We'll have it Facebook Live on our mosque Facebook Live, and of course, Sister.
I'm really anxious to see it. I know there are many of the believers who are really anxious to see it.
Yeah, and let me say that we wanted it to be mostly the believers because, Brother Sultan, Mosque 27, we also made an agreement with the believers, a group agreement. We made an agreement that we were going to lose 10,000 pounds as a mosque.
All right now.
So many of the believers have already been walking and training. Allah has blessed me. I've lost 16 pounds.
Wow.
And so this and the walk also is, we really want to get back to mastering that 1 meal a day.
Yes, sir.
So that we can be in spiritual fighting shape.
I'm looking at someone who just, Brother Vince, who just sent something and he said, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Student Minister Abdul Malik, for always promoting peace and trying to solve the problems that exist. You're very valuable, and may Allah bless you with success. So I think, and people have been coming on and leaving different statements. So You have certainly the support, and we want to see how successful it is and how successful we can help it to be, because we're looking at every opportunity to go after our people and every great example to go after our people. And we have so many wonderful ideas. Of course, we always check, but we have so many wonderful ideas, among the believers and among others who support us. And so, this is one of the activities I think that may give us an even deeper perspective, a better perspective into how we can help in our desire to increase and get
Yes.
this word to our people.
And you know, Brother Sultan, when you take to the streets like that, when you're always out among the people, you know, we have an enemy that hate to see peace, hate seeing black, brown, and Asian coming together. And I'll say this to all the mosque and student ministers, around the nation. When we're out among the people planting the seeds of the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and being there for the people when they're in pain, when the dragon opens up his mouth with the false propaganda to try to wipe us away, the earth will swallow it and say, not them.
Yes, sir.
See? And that's why I work so hard in the streets, because I know the enemy is going to attack our leader and the nation.
Yes, sir.
But we're going to make it hard for him to tell lies to our community about the Nation of Islam in Los Angeles.
Yes, sir. And I think another wonderful aspect of it is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has worked very hard for the human family
Mm-hmm.
and anyone who chooses to follow the way of peace. And when we can follow that and duplicate that, the human family and all who will follow, because it is the greatest of families. And therefore, when we reach out, and we have to constantly do that, reach out to the human family. And I think that with what you have just said, it really will be a wonderful thing to watch and to see members of the human family in such a wonderful exhibit of love, brother and sisterhood.
Yeah, and there will, the beautiful part, it'd be a oneness. All of us will be wearing the white t-shirts with the logo or the brand that you saw. No matter what our religious beliefs are, everybody will look the same. And so I'm just grateful. I'm
Yes,
grateful for the believers, because each believer have their own link and they send it out. And people say, I'll give you $5 a mile. I'll give you $1. And it's blowing the believers away, because,
yes,
sometimes we judge the people are thinking, man, I don't know if somebody going to do this. And they send out their little link and wow, a person just gave me $10 for every mile. And it putting life in us, and so just by sending out a little link.
That's right. That's right. And
wonderful,
this link is
wonderful.
in we've posted it. Everyone, we posted it. Please support. We posted Brother Abdul Malik Saeed's link. So you can go right there in the chat. And also before he does depart in about 30 minutes, you can take your questions or comments for him. But the link is in the chat. Please spread the link and support it. Thank you. Continue. Oh, I hit the post on.
Yes. Well, I was going to ask for maybe some of the questions.
Yes, sir. We mostly have comments. All praises due to Allah from our student regional captain, Sister Sajda Kareem. We have other comments. We have all praises due to Allah from Brother Ronald Robinson. You read Brother Arvensis. See My Eyes 35 says, great movement, Brother Abdul Malik. Nice. Ronald Robinson, strong pillar. Brother Hoyle says, our work is in the streets. Let's see, we have something down. Yes. Carl Whitehead. Yes. Carl X Whitehead. I'm sorry. Assalamu alaikum. Yes, done. Thank you for sharing, Brother Carl. So we have good teaching, a lot of affirmations, which is I bear witness.
So that means then that there's really not any need for any questions, but
Well,
everybody, with wonderful comments like that, it means support. It means that other people are picking up ideas. It means that we are looking at every way that we can to be successful. Brother Brandon Bay, thank you, Brother Minister, for your 28 years of service. Your leadership in the way of community advocacy, as taught to you by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, has been a torchlight for me and our community.
Praise
All praises to
Allah.
Allah.
And here's Brother Daniel. We have to reach out to the despised and the rejected. I want to say I love Brother Sultan. I'm trying to see y'all. Brother Sultan, I joined the Nation of Islam, or I registered under Brother Malik. I
All
first
praises
heard
to
Brother
Allah.
Abdul Malik Saeed December 1995 and popped right up. And ever since then, the ideas that come through Brother Minister Malik are phenomenal. The Your Farmers Market. When I saw and heard we was going to have a walk for peace, I was like, oh, that's magnificent. But the stopping each mile for prayer, I said, yep. There it is. There is the niche that he has in terms of how exciting the programs that come. There are so many that come through our brother Band. I wanted to just bear witness to that there is never a dull moment in the Western region, and certainly at MOS 27 under our student minister here. Brother Brandon asked, how can the people help you in your mission?
well, I know we have in the chat, or people can go to our website, or people can go to our Instagram page and Facebook page. Links are there for those who want to support,
Yep.
the work. You can, but my question to them is, how could we be of support to you as well?
Hmm.
You flow power to that which flows it to you. And we just try to be an example, out here in the city of Los Angeles. And so I would just say to everybody, the biggest support that we can give to the Nation of Islam is to support our Chicago headquarters, the support that we give to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. If you know people who live in the Los Angeles area, call them and ask them to help us. See? And most of the people you call, I can't say 100%, but I would say, who we are and our body of work is basically known by a lot of the people who live in the city of Los Angeles. And what's exciting, Brother Sultan, for me is to hear the believers get excited, because it's like when we first said we was going to do the walkathon and have a link and ask people, I didn't feel people thought that the people would do it.
Yes, sir.
But man, our student sister captain has raised over $1,000. Several believers like, I did the link out. I can't believe I got $500.
Yeah.
There's 3 brothers who is giving me $1,000 a mile for every mile I walk.
Mm.
And so this is going to be the first annual, and we want to grow this to where next year it will be so huge that the city will have to close down the streets for 5 miles. Right now, we're going to walk on the sidewalk.
Yes, sir. Now, I did have another question that I really have to ask and wanted to ask.
Can I skate? Can we skate?
No, you have to walk.
That's right. It's a
So, my question is now, in one of more than one meeting, in the very beginning there in Los Angeles, and you were sitting with the minister, and the minister was preparing you. And I really thought that he seemed to have great confidence in you. But now I have to ask the question, since you have begun from those days when we sat in the hotel and the minister sat with you and we gave you guidance, what has that journey been like from that day?
Oh my God. You know, brothers, I would say it went from a brother who suffered from very bad low self-esteem to a brother who my faith in the three, Master Fard Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and now the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, has reached an apex level in my life to where I don't believe anymore. I know who these three men are. And I now am able to pattern to the best of my ability my life after these three men, particularly with the one being in our midst today. I made a lot of mistakes, but there is no mistakes in the laboratory if you learn from them and don't repeat the mistakes. And so I don't have the fear of going out there trying. I used to, when the minister would tell me good things about myself, I didn't believe it. You know, I believed in him, but I didn't believe in me. And so I would say the greatest improvement now is I could really feel for the first time that my faith in these three giants, Master Fard Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, my faith and my ability to help him has grown tremendously.
That is
Because
a
remember,
great
brother, when
testament. Go
when
ahead.
he sent me here 28 years ago, I had never been a minister in a mosque.
Right.
I was never even an assistant minister. I assisted Brother Jamil for about a couple of months after he came to Atlanta, and Minister Farrakhan called me to Chicago, and my first assignment was a regional minister. So, and I was so, he was like, brother, you could do it. You were born to do this. I watched you in Atlanta. I watched you attract the youth. Just follow me, brother. Go as I tell you to go. And that's what I've tried to do. But, you know, Brother Sultan, on these posts too, you have to also not allow, but you got to deal with the devil of self.
Yes.
And so as I'm working, I'm trying to murder my demons. See, why does Muhammad and any Muslim murder the devil? So I'm trying to murder the worst part of myself as I evolve, and I could feel my spirit and my character. I could feel some of the worst aspects of me shedding off. And so I'm just grateful that I kept my eye on the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and I never doubted who he was and his ability, but I used to doubt me.
And you know, my dear brother, see, I remembered that. I remembered that you had never been a minister. I remembered that, as you said, you had never been an assistant minister. But the eye and the heart of this man to see what we could do and what you could do, and by your having followed him, how you have been successful. That was the point.
Wow.
Because, I mean, it had to really be something to, as you said, you were never a minister, assistant minister, you assisted Brother Jamil, you know, to a certain extent. And I just know something of the context and texture and nature of that city. And I wanted to see too. I really wanted to. And just to watch it and to watch his words and to watch you and to watch the growth as I've seen him look at and see so many people, but it takes love to
Mm.
study someone, or it's an enemy to study someone.
Yes.
But we have come to know, we always knew about the enemy that studies us, but we have come to know the man of love who studies us and then gives us the best in the way of advisement. Uh-oh. Now, this I'm going to stop for. Can Brother Abdul Malik tell some of the stories, behind some of the pictures? He did tell some of the stories, but there may be a favorite that he has, or the
Yes.
one that he's asked the most. Who
Yeah.
you asked about the most?
That is, it's a picture of one of the members of the Mexican mafia.
Mm.
I don't know if you had, I saw the brother that fell in my arms
Okay.
and said, you
Oh,
know,
yes, sir.
he said,
Yes, sir.
we've
You
been
had on the
watching.
uniform. You had on your brown
I
uniform?
had on my brown uniform.
I looked, I saw it.
And that brother fell in my arms and cried like a baby. He said, you are loved more. You're not just, now what he said, you're not just loved by Black people. He said, you're loved by the brown community too. And I looked at him, I said, yes, sir. That's why I'm wearing the brown uniform. And he fell in my arms. He said, I've been watching you from prison and the minister. We love you all, brother. I want to be a part. And I mean, I'm crying. And after
Yeah,
him, I don't know if Sister Charlene have it. There's a picture of, there it is.
that is.
And I was just blown away.
And
Man,
you can see,
I'm getting worked up now, but the
but you
Samoan
can
picture,
see the love in this brother's face.
yeah,
You can see the joy. It's like, I guess it's like being saved, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, and you don't know how people see you. I'm just your little helper. I'm just your little brother. And when Nipsey Hussle, when the Hertz was riding through the streets, Brother Suta, I'm walking next to the Hertz to
Yes, sir.
stop the people from rioting, because once they see us, the people would not, attack the car or the police. But right after this meeting, I don't know if Sister Charlie had the Samoan community. There's a picture of me and these huge Samoan brothers and sisters.
Yes, sir.
And they was like, man, will you come to our community?
On the
Yeah.
And so I went to their community. Right after that brother embraced me, the next day, over 400 different hoods showed
Yeah.
up and dropped their rags at our feet to say, we're done with killing.
Oh,
See? And then a week after that, I had a meeting with the East Coast Crips and the 13th Street Florencias. We met at one of the brothers. We got quite a few brothers in our mosque that work in gang intervention, doing a wonderful job. Our first officer, Brother Student Captain William, Brother Deron, and others, man, they do work. So we met, brother, at a community center, and Allah blessed us to help broker peace between two groups that's been in a war for 30 years. And since that night, after seeing us help with Nipsey, from that time on, 4 years ago, have not been one murder, nor even a bloody nose shed between the 13th Street Florencia and the East Coast Crips.
well, now that you've said that, we have to work very hard to make sure that somebody doesn't try to come in between that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I have to say, there's a brother there who was lieutenant when I came in, and Brother Halim. I was going to say something else. I said, no, 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 no. But I have to say, Brother Halim, who has served in that capacity, for some time, and who always was able to take instructions. Not from me. Hell, I needed instruction.
Yeah.
But I found him in every circumstance able to take instruction. And I think that's just, I have to acknowledge it
And
because I think back in the day, it's not too many, I don't know how many of us are still around, but he knows probably better than I.
No, look, and he's so loved in the streets. I told him years ago, I said, brother, everybody in the streets are going to start calling you Brother Captain. Now, he's affectionately known when all the cats see him. Even the police officers call him Brother Captain.
Yes, sir. Isn't that beautiful?
That's our captain, And Sister Charlene will tell you when we marched up on the site to lay the wreaths at Nipsey Hussle's, the site where he was murdered, and we had the wreaths made in the form of a star and crescent, but we used red and blue roses, flowers. And when we marched in with the sisters in between the FOI, women
Yes,
was
sir.
falling to their knees saying, that's our nation.
Yes, sir.
Was so moved.
I witnessed some of it.
By the people, man, because they got hope in us, man.
Yes,
whether they join us or not, Master Father Muhammad said, every black, brown, and red man is a Muslim. And just to hear the people cheer us on. And when we laid that wreath and the gang members saw it and we saluted everybody, thousands of people, when Brother Captain said original salute, everybody saluted, even police officers.
Yes, sir.
I bear witness.
I bear witness.
Yes.
Man, I'm getting a little worked up, but
Allah.
all praises due to Allah.
All praises to
Thank Allah for you, brother minister. We really do. Student Minister Abdul Malik Saeed. I think that's what I was trying to bear witness to for when I first came in. It was everything that I had seen. I'd been watching Minister Farrakhan's lectures, reading the final call, but when I would watch his lectures, the spirit that I felt coming from when I was at home on the couch watching him, when I came to the mosque that December 1995, it was actually December 31st. I think you had done a lecture on waiting to exhale. Remember that? And I saw a flyer that said the Nation of Islam is going to give a lecture about waiting to exhale. Come and see what the Muslims think about the movie. And I said, well, I hated it. So I'm going to see what they thought about it. I didn't hate it, but there were some aspects about it. And I thought I was going to hear about waiting to exhale, and I did, but you went into everything and unlocked the mysteries of questions I had as a child. But again, it was because of me feeling Minister Farrakhan coming through you, and I haven't looked back since. So we thank Allah for you for that. Look at Sister Miranda has a message here. Thank you for your love, sacrifice, and obedience, Brother Minister. We love you. People are bearing witness. Brother Brandon Bay, I bear witness. Ronald Robinson. I apologize. I don't have a lot of those pictures right here where I can show everyone without mistakenly deleting you all from the stream. But finalcall.com, everyone has many of the images, many of the articles that the Final Call has covered about the work in the Western region, and those pictures are there. Here's Brother Harl. Keep up the good work. Brother Sultan, I will let you and Brother Student Minister Abdul Malik Saeed continue, because in the next 5 minutes, we're going to be bringing on Brother William as well, Brother William Muhammad, as well as one of our guests that he spoke to for the Final Call newspaper on this very critical issue that's happening out of Macon, Georgia. But here's Brother Khalid, Brother Sultan, and Brother Student Minister. Take the next 4 minutes. I know you have to take leave, Brother Malik, and then
Yes.
bring in our next guest. Okay, so Brother Sultan, we're in the closing remarks. We have 4 minutes. Okay,
all right. I'm gonna. Okay, I was
I'm
One of
out.
these what Brother Khalif said.
Okay. Oh, my bad,
No,
my
please
bad.
read.
I know what's going on with.
Go ahead.
He asked the question, say, will you testify to some of the impact Brother Student Captain Shahid had on the peace process and unity in the city of Los Angeles? Also, former Student Captain Waliullah.
Well, yes, Brother Shahid, these brothers are foundational building kind of brothers.
Yeah.
These brothers actually, if I had to give a description of them, they were like reconnaissance men. They'd already cleared the brush for a young brother like me to come in. So my work, it was tough, but just think how tough it would have been if there was no Shahid.
That's right.
Brother Shahid was so loved and in most cases feared.
I know.
Nobody didn't play with Brother Shahid, because he loved the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and this nation, but he helped to pave the way. When I came here, Brother Waliullah was the captain. These are foundational stones. So they made my harvest work very, very easy. So Brother Shahid was known as Brother Captain too. And so the streets, those that didn't love him, feared him. And I thank Allah for him. And I thank Allah for his sons who now is soldiering in his name.
That's right.
And so Brother Captain Shahid will always be remembered. He's a martyr for us. And his name and his image will always be lifted in our new mosque and school and community center. We're going to have a wall and a hallway that will be dedicated to those who went before us and those who came before us. Los Angeles will have a wall of fame, and by God's grace, his picture will be hoisted on that wall.
Yes, sir. And I have to say, from my own history, and brother and I met, almost 40 years ago, and we had a special relationship. But what I loved about brother, he loved the minister. He loves Islam.
Yes.
He's just a proud Muslim. And so I thank Allah, for our brother. I thank Allah. Well, the great Waliullah is right down the street, working and working hard. And it's always good that we just keep working and keep working and keep working. So I'm very honored and grateful, my dear brother, to have been a part of the interview and a part of the history to a little degree. And I thank Allah for the kind of work because it's really exemplary gang work and what it takes to make the things happen that make it easier for us to reach our brothers and sisters when the enemy is working so hard to separate us. And so they're working very hard now to separate the younger of our people from us. And so we have that work out ahead of us. We thank Allah for you. We thank Allah for the brothers and sisters of LA. We thank Allah for that beautiful spirit that we saw when we were there for our brother Nipsey Hussle. And I have to say that I actually saw our brothers giving instructions that were being followed by everyone. That's everyone who was out there.
Yes.
So that was a very, very beautiful thing. And it just shows that it can be done that way, and we can have the same peace and more that was there during those days that we were there in honor of our brother, Nipsey Hussle.
That's right.
So
Thank,
he's back on. So
Thank
I
you.
would certainly, again, thank you for being here and to being able to be here with you. Thank you, Sister Charlene.
Praise be to Allah. Don't go nowhere, Brother Sultan. Don't
I'm
go
not
nowhere.
going anywhere. I'm not going
Oh,
anywhere.
thank Allah. Brother Minister, thank you so much. And
thank you, family. May
we,
Allah bless you and bless the rest of your show. And inshallah, we'll talk soon.
inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Thank you, Brother Sultan. No disrespect. Let me when I said don't go nowhere, but as you can
No,
see, thank Allah, everyone stay right with us because this segment that we're going into right now is very critical and much like the last one impacts you and our families and our communities tremendously. And so we have Brother William P. Muhammad of the Final Call newspaper coming on right now, and Brother William will help to take us further into our segment. But Brother Sultan, you were going to mention something?
no, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay, I was hearing something. Well, listen, everyone, please. There's I have the photos. We have the documentation. Just the effort to put them here and display them is a little challenging. So, as we segue, thank you so much, Sister Miranda, Dr. Miranda X, who is part of the executive team that is helping to put on the Walk for Peace in Los Angeles, as well as Brother Sherman and others who are who is sending the information in to me. But you can go to finalcall.com, and Brother Student Minister Abdul Malik Saeed Muhammad has a very active Instagram page, Facebook page, Twitter account, and so you can find that there. And so now let's bring in Brother William P. Muhammad. He is our contributing writer, a contributing writer for the Final Call newspaper. Brother William, assalamu alaikum.
Long man.
Thank you so much for being with us. And the reason I bring you in is I'm going to first is I want you to introduce to us our guest, but we appreciate this. This segment is actually part of what was intended to be an entire roundup of the Final Call newspaper headlines, which Liberated Sisters will begin to do that because the news and information is just so critical that to miss what I call it in that segment, the justice report, because we want justice and the God is here to bring it. It's crucial. Our people are suffering. We are, as someone put in our chat, we cannot turn the blind eye, and we are our people. So, Brother Sultan, do you know Brother
Yes, I do know that face.
William? It's my first time.
Assalamu alaikum, Brother William.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
And how are you, sir?
I'm doing well by Allah's grace, striving hard to make my word my bond, brother.
Yes, sir. I'm going to strive to make mine bond with you.
It's like I'm hearing Brother William on the Final Call conference call. It's
Yeah.
like I'm hearing you right now, Brother William. Well, in all seriousness, I will go ahead and post up what we're here to talk about. Brother William, would you please also just hold on one second, everyone. Thank you all so much. Thank you for bearing with me every week or every time we're on as I get the files that we need. And so this is what we are here to discuss for this segment. And it's coming through, okay? This very important issue. Suspected in custody death in Macon, Georgia, lingers 23 years later. Brother William is the writer for this article. It is in the current edition of the Final Call newspaper. We invite you to read along with us. It's at finalcall.com for more information about it. Brother William, how did you come across this critical issue that you've presented to us as we get ready for you to also introduce to us the person that's going to be co-interviewed with you tonight?
Yes, ma'am, and thank you. And thank you to staff of your show and to the listeners and viewers on this critical subject. Um, I was working on a Final Call story about another issue that happened in Georgia. I think that because we're distracted through other issues going on in the news and in underbelly, if you will,
Charlene,
of the American
we missed,
South.
Brother William, we missed just a couple of your words. I
Certainly.
don't know.
Okay. Yes, sir. If we look at what's going on in the United States, particularly in the South. And of course, it's in the North too. As we may recall, Malcolm X said, stop talking about the South. As long as you're south of the Canadian border, you're south. However, there are some deep-seated problems going on in the South, particularly states like Mississippi and Georgia and Louisiana, regarding late cover-ups that we've attempted to cover in the Final Call story. When I was working on a piece regarding the story of a young man by the name of Kendrick Johnson, I recall he made national. He was found rolled up in a wrestling mat.
Yes, sir.
A lot of shady business around it. Basically, changed the narrative to something that was so ridiculous, it was impossible to believe that it could be something that law enforcement would stand by. Nevertheless, while working on this story, I was speaking to a gentleman who was part of the story who took his case to the UN. And while doing so, also took the case of another young man, he said, which was extremely egregious, happened several years ago, by the name of Stephen Lamond Johnson, no relation to Kendrick Johnson. And his mother, who's been suffering for the last 23 years and striving to get justice for her son, although nothing can bring him back, we looked deeper into it, and it was extremely egregious. So that was sent to the UN also. There will be a part 2 follow-up story, probably within the next week or two, pointing out more details that have come out since the release of this story. But long story short, this year probation, and while on probation, he was within a 6-month intensive uh, type of probation, to where every little detail, prison or whatever. And so his parole or his probation officer said that he had dropped dirty on a urinalysis. Found out later, after his body was recovered, that it was argument was bogus, which was sent forth to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. They came back with the toxicology report negative on all panels, but it's been brushed under the rug since then. And it happened in 10/10/2000. Think of that date. 10/10/2000 is when he was allegedly beaten and murdered, and then his body dumped into a river that goes to Georgia. And then his body was found on October 16th, 2000. Strange, I know, to those
Yes, sir.
to those dates. And so, if it weren't for some whistleblowers and some witnesses who were courageous enough to come forward, this would have just been swept away as another quote unquote black man dead. Very courageous former police officer and deputy sheriff by the name of Joseph Calloway came forward, said that this is not how he understood what happened, used evidence to even say that, and was subsequently punished from his job with the Macon Police Department.
Excuse me, Brother William.
Yes, sir.
I don't know where it's coming from, but we are missing your words. We'll get a few words and then we'll miss. I don't know if it's some kind of interference or if it's your mic or whatever.
Fine, I hear you fine.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And I don't know.
We can hear you. It just drops every few words, like maybe 3 or 4 words in each kind of sentence.
Sir.
Yes.
Well, without making it longer than it needs to be, the gentleman that I would like to introduce to you is the officer who was the whistleblower. His name is Joseph Calloway, former officer of the Macon Police Department and the Bibb County Sheriff's Department, whose statements kept the light of truth shining on this tragic case. So I'd like to introduce Mr. Joseph Calloway this time.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Calloway, do you have are you watching the show or someone in your area also watching the podcast now?
I'm the only one watching so far at my
Okay.
location.
Okay. Is it possible to mute that sound? Because we're
Yes,
getting your feedback.
yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Is that better?
Yes.
Yes.
No. We still hear it.
Okay, what about now?
How about
I,
now?
I, I can I can take care of that. Hold on.
I think it's better. No.
I think
So it's on some, it may be on somewhere.
Okay, is that better?
it sounds kind of. Is it?
Is that better?
Let's see. I still hear the feedback.
Okay. Well, there's nothing on here but
Oh,
me on this
yeah. Now
line.
he sounds pretty clear, and now you're sounding
Yeah.
reverb. But we can just go forward. This is very important.
Could be just that it's feedback, nothing else is on. Usually that's what it is sometimes, but there's less feedback when you're speaking, Brother Sultan. So you and Brother William continue.
Yes, sir.
Thank you both. Thank you for being with us,
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Calloway.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Pleasure, my dear brother. Um, go ahead, Brother William.
Yes, I had my phone muted, or my computer muted, so I know it wasn't coming from my end.
Yes, sir.
Nevertheless, Mr. Calloway, could you share with the readers, before we get deeper into it, a little bit about Renee, who of this young man, and what she has endured for the last 23 years regarding the cry for justice for her son?
Well, she's been through a lot, and so have I. But to feel her pain and to know the fight for justice that she's been enduring for the last 23 years, it's been rough. And I've been trying to do my part to be her support team, but I've been catching too by supporting her and trying to get the truth out. And I told her I will fight with her until we get justice.
Yes, sir. And Mr. Calloway, you yourself suffered tremendously in your effort to stand by the truth as you knew it.
Yes, sir. I've been
Share a little bit about the stress that you endured.
I've been
Take-
terminated, outcast, lied on, lied to, threatened. But I'm a man of God, so I believe that God will not let anything happen to you when you stand for the truth, and I believe in that. So that's why I've been standing with her for the truth.
Absolutely, and it's quite honorable, particularly as an officer of the law at that time. And story, when I spoke to you, you mentioned that you were fired twice. Could you share a little bit about how that happened?
Yes, sir. The first time I was fired back in 2008 of November, the 18th of my daughter's birthday. I'll never forget that date. And I had spoken with the FBI here in Macon about Renee Johnson's son's case. And when I spoke with that FBI, he in return called one of the majors of the Macon Police Department, and he tried to get me to give him a statement on what I spoke with FBI about. And after that, I was lied on again and terminated for being truthful, criticism of supervisor, conduct unbecoming, and so many other charges I was terminated for with Macon Police Department. That was back in 2008 of November.
Yes,
Brother
sir.
William, may I ask a question here? What was this young man convicted of?
Well, from what I was told, he was convicted of alleged for marijuana possession. I was told, and it was less than I think an ounce. But when they turned it in, they say he had several ounces in the possession. So they gave false statements on his behalf, and that's what got him convicted and put on probation.
And it couldn't have been much of anything because but the probation was what, 6 months?
Yes, sir. That's what I was told. 6 months. Yes, sir.
And I wanted to establish that
It
for
was, if I may, it wasn't during a 6 month period within his probation. That's what it was. It was a probation, a strict style of probation within his probation, as dictated and determined by the Macon probation office.
did we ever know did we ever know how many others on such probation existed, or was it just something generally in? I'm going to ask the question straight. Is it generally something for black people, black young men, or
I think it was
just
more geared
special?
toward young black men. I think it was more geared toward young black men to keep them in poverty, to keep them down.
Yes, sir. So, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I would also like to go into a little bit more about what happened.
Yes, sir.
According to documents that I reviewed and according to Sir here, Calloway and the mother, Mr. Johnson, Stephen Lamont Johnson, was excited because it was his last day of this. So he went in feeling optimistic. And according to the story as I read it and documents that I reviewed, a former probation officer, his name was Stimbridge, who's now deceased, uh, said that his urine looked too clear to be real. Arbitrarily said that he failed his urinalysis. But scientific proof that he had done other than heard. And then, of course, as we know later, the toxicology report showed he was already dead by then. So he was being walked out to state-owned vehicle to be transported back to the jail in handcuffs. They're called double-hinged handcuffs. Whatever reason it was, he ran away. He ran as he was forcibly being put into this car. He was reported on paper and by documents as happening after between 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. on the 10th of October 2000. However, witnesses, including a former security guard at the Macon Telegraph, said no, this happened much earlier in the afternoon. This had to have happened at 3 o'clock because the security officer said his shift started at 3 and he remembered seeing the young. Fast forward to 6:15, the probation officer and a partner arrive at his mother's house saying they're looking for him. Man's mother overhears the police radio or saying, oh, they spotted him down by this place called the Ice House, which was near Down Bridge. The black officer leaves. The white officer, Stimbridge, the probation officer, said, well, if he shows up here, tell him to turn himself in. The mother thought that was strange because seen down at this place and, we're over here in my home and he's allegedly near the downtown. So no information is heard from them. Uh, there was no news on the local news. There was no story on the local news, on the television news, anything. And just strange because one would think if someone ran away in handcuffs in the downtown, story for local media, but there was none. Uh, she went down looking for him. She would call the police several occasions. She told me that it seemed as if they didn't care, seemed as if they weren't really interested in finding him, which is again curious. So she took it upon herself with others to search for him down around that area along the banks of the, and I'm sorry, I can't pronounce the name of this river very well, but it's like, Mr. Calloway's going to have to say the name of the river. I can't pronounce it, but it seems like an old Indian name.
Yes, so Oak Muggy River.
Sure. And at that time, the witness saw his body floating in that river on October 16th of 2000. Again, that date is quite interesting. And so, after pulling his body from the river, he's found cuffed, horrible condition of decomposition with signs of broken bones, trauma, uh, and the handcuffs in the front. So uh, the report says, well, he ran away with some strange individuals that were sitting in the car outside of the probation office. Said that. Found in the river, handcuffed and dead. The witness, who claimed to have been 20 to 30 yards away, witnessed his savage and sadistic beating, not only of other officers from the drug unit and some crime enforcement unit as well, and thrown into the river. And it was basically brushed. There's nothing more said about it. Heard talk on the radio, and I'd like to let him explain that. Could and Mr. Calloway, what happened while you were in the patrol car with your field training officer? Could you share with the audience what happened on that day of the 16th, or I'm sorry, the 10th when he went missing, versus his body being found on the 16th in the river?
Yes, sir. On that particular day, on October 10th, around 2:30, I was in the called my FTO, and it come across the radio that Mr. Stephen Johnson had ran from the probation officer, but one of the drug unit guys named Chris Bartley apprehended him. He come across the radio, said 9 out of 21, I think. I have the subject 1026, which is in custody, back in custody. It's around 2:30. I'll never forget that day. It's because it stick with me back in my mind. And he said, I'm going to turn him back over to probation officer Roger Stenbridge. Be advised now, I know my FTO never went to the scene because they had so many cops down and the road was blocked off. We couldn't get there. But we could hear the traffic on the radio. He said he was turning him back over to Roger Stenbridge. And that was the end of that. So around, I say about 3 o'clock, 3:15, somewhere in that frame, my FTO get a phone call from whomever he was talking to. I don't know to this day who the person was. But in general, they was talking about the Stephen Johnson guy. And he told me, FTO, hey man, you remember that guy they were chasing down by the river? And my FTO said, yeah. What about he fish bait? He dead now. So my FTO relayed that back to me. I was like, wow, man, that's bad. So that just makes my whole day to hear that kid dead just that quick. And from that point on, it was just talk on the radio about if you're not part of this scene, leave the area immediate, make room for the corner. And this around about 3:15 or 3:30, somewhere in that same time frame. That they were telling everybody to leave the area that wasn't part of it, make room for the corner to come in. And so when the corner come in, that means either you pretty much dead. If the corner come in to get the body, you dead.
subsequent to this, cover up begins, well, actually, by the 10th. And it would seem to me that it would take a very large cover up to hide something like this, particularly when writing written statements to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. He is, and there's radio traffic.
Excuse me, Sister Charlene, Brother William, we're losing some very important words, and we can hear everybody. You can hear me, I think. You can hear Sister Charlene. I can hear Brother Calloway. But when you talk with the information that you have, you're having some kind of, is it the same way with you, Mr. Calloway?
Yes, sir.
He's going out, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, which is very unusual because the three of us can be heard, but the man who is giving us this story, according to his report, we continue to lose your words. So let me just ask some questions and then let's get these questions. What I understand here is that this man was with this probation officer, Stingbridge,
Yes, sir.
and he was having his last or next to his last visit before his probation would be over. Is that correct?
That day he went to report was his last day on probation. Yes, sir.
And there is a report that came that this Stingbridge had went by the mother's house at 6:15 and
Yes,
said
sir.
they were looking for him.
Yes, sir.
However, Mr. Calloway, what time did you learn of this body that had been found?
The last transmission I know that the body had been found was he was still alive at 2:30 that evening. He ran 2:30 when he
At
was
2:30.
2:30 p.m.
Okay.
when he was turned back over to Roger Stenbridge.
And then you heard again that about 3:15, I'm not sure I have the time together, but 3:15, that they had found him,
Yes,
or
sir.
that he was in custody.
No, they was making room to let the coroner come in. They were told that everybody that's not part of this scene here, leave the area, make room for the coroner. That was
Why
about
were they telling? Why do you think they were telling him to leave that area?
Well, based on my knowledge and experience, anytime the coroner's called, that means the person is dead.
Yes, sir. But at 6:15 now, 3 hours later, this Stingbridge is at the home of his mother looking for him. But he's been dead now, according to your report, 3 hours.
Yes, sir. I think that was part of the cover up to try to throw Renee off from what
Yes, sir.
he already knew that son. He had already killed her son.
Now,
So
why were you heard the report? You as a police officer at the time, you heard a report saying that he was with the fishes, or he had been okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, you were expected to make certain statements. Now, why were you fired?
For telling the truth.
And what was that truth as you knew it?
About what I heard on the radio about when he was captured and given back over to the probation office at 2:30.
And you made a statement, is that correct? You turned in a statement.
Yes, sir.
What did you say in your statement that got you fired?
Exactly what I'm saying now. That I heard on the radio that Chris Butler had captured Stephen Johnson at 2:30, and he was turning him back over to the probation officer, Roger Stenbridge.
And then we learned that this man had been beaten severely. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And who saw, Brother William, you come in, please. Who saw him handcuffed from the back? Did anybody see him handcuffed in the back?
When he was seen running from the scene, a security officer stated that he saw him with his handcuffs from behind, and also Stembridge wrote in his report that he was handcuffed from behind. He was escorted out of the building. And when he was taken out of the building by two probation officers, one a shift supervisor and Stembridge himself, they claim he broke away from them while they were attempting to put him in the car, and that allegedly there was a car around the corner with three unidentified males waiting for him who sped him away. That's what they claim in the report. But
did they say how they caught him in this car?
He was not caught in the car. He was caught. They don't even explain that. They just say they don't know where he went. And next thing they know, he's in the river. But witness accounts say that he left 3 hours before the time the report says he was taken to the car. And witness reports say they saw him being beaten down by the river. And witness reports state that they saw him being thrown into the river.
Now, Mr. Calloway,
with his handcuffs put in front of him before doing that.
And you're fired because, Mr. Calloway, you're fired because of the statement you made. You were not, did they ask you to corroborate what they said, to go along with what they said? Were you asked to do that?
Well, no, I wasn't asked to collaborate, but they said, well, they was, when I went and spoke with the FBI, and the FBI called a major about me speaking to them on the incident. And each time I was called down there, now they called me down to give a statement. I didn't volunteer, they called me down there. And each time I didn't give the statement the way they wanted, they made my career living hell.
And what does that mean? What did they do to you?
They harassed me, supervisors threatened me, they gave me all the screwed up details, the regular cars to drive in.
But did anyone threaten you directly? And if so, what was said?
Well, I had one of the white majors tell me one day, you have a way of putting a word that pissing folks off. And if you want to hang around a long time, you got to know how to be humble and keep your mouth shut about certain things. That one of the majors told me one day, white guy.
What did that mean to you? And what did it mean if you want to remain, you should be humble? What was your impression of that?
Go along with what they tell me and do what they tell me to do. And I'm not that type of guy. And I wasn't raised that way.
Okay. And you say you were fired twice?
Yeah, from the Macon Police Department on November the 18th, 2008. And then again from the Beale County Sheriff's Department on August the 20th. And this time I was locked up, arrested this time. They fired me.
Arrested for what?
Well, they said aggravated assault, violation of oath, and giving false statements.
Violation of oath?
Yes, sir, because a guy tried to run over me with a car one morning.
Yes, sir.
And I drew my weapon, fired shots at the car. So I was fired for the aggravated assault on him and violation of oath and giving false statement.
So that was an attempt to hit you with this car, vehicular manslaughter or vehicular assault?
Yes, sir.
With his
vehicle, yes, sir.
Do you know who it was?
Yeah, I got the information from the investigator. Yeah, I got the person name. Yes, I got the person name. Yeah.
And who was this person? Did you know the person?
No, I didn't know him. I didn't know him at all.
Did that person make a report that somebody shot at him?
No, it was I was cleared through internal affairs both times from the crimes against person investigator that came out the night of the shooting. They had to go down internal affairs in June and give another statement. I was cleared both times by the internal affairs investigator and the crimes against person investigator. But the sheriff took upon himself to get a case. So the case went from internal to criminal investigation against me. I didn't ever know nothing about it. The shooting took place in April of 2020. I was locked up in August of 2020, 5 months later.
Yes, sir.
This after I gave my statement.
Was there ever any other threats? Did anyone threaten your life? Was there any implication or any suggestion?
What the indication was when I used to get calls, like domestic calls, when I was out working the road,
Yes, sir.
I would never get no backup to go with me on a domestic call. Uh, and I would sometimes be sent on shooting call, which is aggravated assault call by myself, never got no backup. And my supervisor would listen to the radio. Traffic stops with forward warrants on them, I would never get no backup.
Did you fear for your life or fear you were being set up?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I put in to be transferred several times, never got transferred, just got harassed.
You know, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
How this is mind-boggling. How are things with you now? And just this whole case, Brother William, thank you for bringing it to light.
Well, the aggravated assault and giving false statement and violation of oath is still pending. I haven't went to trial on it yet. I hadn't had a grand jury to intervene. The grand jury don't want to take the case, so the case just sitting on the DA's desk, and she's of color too, black. So but for us, me now, I'm just depending on God to make a way, to make all that disappear, and they pay me all my money back they owe me. So I'm doing
So,
good.
how long have you? How much time do they owe you?
Uh, from the time they concept gonna lock me up from August of 2020 up until now, the case been pending. I never
And
got put on. They never put me on administrative leave. They never told me I being investigated. They just locked
and
me up and fired
what
me.
department is it? What is the name of
Yes,
this department that you work for? Who is not done that?
Macon Bill County Sheriff Department. Macon Bill County Sheriff Department.
Say
If
it
I
again.
may, if I may interject,
Macon Bill County Sheriff Department.
if I may interject, the Macon Police Department had so many issues that they ended up merging with the Sheriff's Department. So the Sheriff's Department oversees the local PD now under one umbrella.
Yes, sir.
And I might point out that in addition to the harassment Holloway has suffered, the mother suffered an awful lot of harassment also for not letting it go,
Yes.
where she ended up having to leave the state and currently resides in South Carolina.
Yes.
And
Wow.
had another son who was suffering harassment, who also left to another state. And Stephen Lamont Johnson's son, who was featured in the news story as a baby. There he is.
There he is.
He was shot and killed by police in Macon
In February.
back in February of this year.
Yep.
And what were what the circumstances was?
Lies again. They lying about he ran a. He's supposed to have. This is the report that the Bill County deputy that got in the chase with him said that he made a right turn on a red light about 12:45 in the morning. He began to chase him behind that. So it's never my line of duty in law enforcement. Traffic infraction never led to nobody death.
Wow. We have 5 more minutes, and so we should go into closing remarks. And we can begin with our guests first, but I want to point out that the final call is right now looking at a report put out by the Sentencing Project about pretextual stops and how there's so many disparities in these stops. So, Mr. Calloway, Brother William, Brother Sultan, you all make your closing remarks, and then we will close out at 6 o'clock. And thank you so much. I'm sorry this is happening, and my heart goes out to his mother and family. Brother William, thank you so much for sharing this with us tonight. But go ahead, you all, with your closing remarks.
Well, I want to say, I'd like to say myself, I'm really in gratitude for both of you who have done the work that you've done on this situation. And Mr. Calloway, I have to say to you, my dear brother, your work like this never goes in vain. We can have billions of dollars, but when we leave, we can't take anything with us. But when there's a work that's left of good, that carries your name, you can know that your life carries a great value. So I just wanted to say that to you, brother, because you represent a nation of people for whom justice is due. And Brother William, of course, have to always thank you. What I would like to do is I want to say what I have to say, and then Brother Calloway, if there's something you would like to say, Brother William, what you would like to have to say, and then we go to Sister Charlene. And I just want to thank the God that I can even be a witness to the strength and belief in God. Brother, when I heard you say God, you believe in God. Well, you have the protection. And nothing that happens in any of these circumstances ever go unseen by the most powerful God, ever. None of this will go unchecked. So I wanted to say that. I wanted to thank you, dear brother, on behalf of our people. And thank you, Brother William, on behalf of this great work that you've done. And we need to go deeper, and we will see what we can do. I mean, I would like to go deeper and uh, go from there. So I thank both of you, and what you're doing is so, so, so important. And it adds to the weight of what has been done of injustice. And that scale is so imbalanced. But as you said, my dear brother, the God brings the balance to all scales. So with that, Brother uh, Calloway, if you'll say what you would like to say, Brother William, after that.
Yes, sir, and I appreciate your words of encouragement too, sir, and I thank everyone for their time and all the hard work you all doing behind the scenes. But Macon, Bill County is in trouble, and we need help here.
Yes, sir.
We need help. Murders cover up by your law enforcement, your top seed, sheriff with corruption. Macon, Bill County need help, and Renee McGee need help with closure for her son and grandson now. And Mr. Williams, thank you so much for your time and your hard working piece of art piece that you put out there. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Calloway, someone asked, Mr. Tawan Muhammad asked, do you have a Cash App or GoFundMe?
No, ma'am, I don't.
No, ma'am. Mr. Tawan, he doesn't. Thank you. Here
But
she says,
I sure like to know how to get one started.
Yes, sir.
get the
Well,
youth in your family, get, get the children. But yes, we would,
someone can certainly get that to you, send that to you,
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
who
and some,
knows how to do it.
that's right. And here we'll be praying for you and ask Allah for your protection, she says.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
thank you, Sister Tawan. Brother William, and then I'll close out.
Yes, ma'am. Again, I would like to reiterate my appreciation to Calloway as a former law enforcement officer to say that his integrity, it was uh, commitment to duty and his oath to do the right thing. Come out of the academy saying, they believe this and that, and then when they get up, completely different from what they've been told they are to do. And it's so sad that a man of integrity has to endure the corruption of those who are sworn to serve and protect. So, with that, again, I tip my hat to you, sir. And that this case has been forwarded and that we're
It's been
still waiting for more
pardon
information
me,
to come back from it. Yes, ma'am.
pardon me. The words dropped. It's been forwarded to whom or where?
The United Nations Human Rights Commission. This has gone on too long. It's so blatantly obvious what happened. And the cover up seems to involve everyone from local FBI officials to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation to the county sheriff to the local police chief and the Macon probation office. So one could say it goes from the local to the federal, cover up all the way. And this is a tremendous burden for bear and for this noble former officer to bear. And so um, those who believe in justice served, and those who let's be honest, this country will criticize countries all over the world for human rights abuses, and justify sanctions and even warfare on such countries. But look what's going on in our own backyard. So I'll leave
Thank
it at
you.
that and say, um, yes, ma'am. Mhm.
No, go ahead. You were.
Oh, I said I'll leave it there and say that the struggle continues as we
Thank
see a
you.
civilization continuing to unravel.
Thank you both on behalf of Liberated Sisters. Thank you, Brother Sultan. And so set up that cash app. Mr. Calloway, Sister Tuan is asking, and um, everyone who is tuning in, please stay there. I'm going to read some words that close out the article of Brother William from the Final Call newspaper, okay? Assalamu alaikum, brother panelist.
Wa alaikum
Peace and
salam.
blessings.
God bless.
Likewise, sir.
That's
Okay, everyone, this is the story that is the subject of this segment, and it ends with these words, teachings from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad through the guidance and leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I'll read, and you can read it at finalcall.com and share, and also you may subscribe to the Final Call. The time and what must be done is the section in this article, and it begins: the eternal leader of the nation of Islam, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, wrote of how the science of tricks and lies created a society of wickedness to disgrace and fool the aboriginal people of the earth. Specific to the dying ideologies of white supremacy and black inferiority, Messenger Muhammad, in Message to the Black Man in America, published in 1965, described the how separation from evil is a mercy from Allah God, and that it's the best and only solution to the question of freedom, justice, and equality. Quote, Almighty Allah God and the Nation of Islam elsewhere, Africa, Asia, Africa, and the islands are grieved and hurt to see you walking into the trap your enemies, the devils, have and I am your sincere brother with the truth from your God and mine, which means your very life and the future of your children and nations of black men and women. The truth being that you should know your enemies and their tricks being played on the world of our kind, end quote. He wrote, quote, will you listen or read the truth? I'll say that again. Will you listen or read the truth? That's an end quote. And so we just wanted to close out with the rest of Brother Williams' article. And again, it's finalcall.com. Oh, and guess what? Tawan and everyone, we do have a cash app for Mr. Calloway. I will post it now. And I know we're on our way out, but I just have to bring everyone right back in. Mr. Calloway, I'm coming to your camera now as well. Oh, he logged off. Um, Brother Sultan logged off as well, but I wanted to show that. And Brother William, your mic is open because Sister Tawan asked, and I agree that we should support. We must support each other. You know that he will be experiencing this is very traumatic. But first and foremost, standing up, because when we do have these incidents that our people suffer, we say, I'm going to have you unmute, Brother Calloway, but you're right there. We say stand up. We say do the right thing, and it's the right thing to do. Our brother didn't do this because of seeking some gain. It's just he just told the truth, right, Brother William? And so that's the cash app there. But we're gonna go 3 more minutes, please. Especially Brother William on what was mentioned from the end of the article. Thank you, Mr. Calloway, for your information.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I don't have the article in front of me except what I see on the screen, and I'm not able.
Oh no, it's okay, Brother William. I just here it is. This is our brother, and look at this: justifiable homicide, Black youth in peril. So we're actually 7 minutes over time. I just wanted to give that opportunity again. Our brother Sultan has already signed off, and we will too. But thank you
would
again.
like to point out, Sister Charlene,
Yes.
that a part 2 to this article will be coming out soon.
Oh wow! Thank you.
If not the next issue, the issue after this.
Thank you for telling us.
And we can put that information further into depth, because this story in and of itself could actually constitute a series of about 4 stories. It's that heinous.
And then some.
And then some. Because we're dealing with corruption in law enforcement, corruption in among federal authorities, state authorities, county authorities, and local authorities. Not to mention the unjust harassment and suffering. I mean, imagine the strength it takes for a mother, her son, who watches him struggle to overcome the restrictions put upon him, and successfully, on his very last day, disappears and turns up dead. And for 23 years, getting no straight answers. And I must say this too: I've reviewed the photos from the autopsy. I've reviewed the photos from 3 autopsies. The young man was exhumed twice, had 3 autopsies done on him, and
Oh, Brother William, could you repeat that? You said after you said 3 autopsies done on him.
He was exhumed twice and had 3, and the mother ends up going to court and successfully, the federal, I think it was state court, if I'm not mistaken, in Atlanta, allowed for the cause of death to be amended, because the official cause of death was listed as asphyxia from
drowning,
but there was no water in his lungs. And then the second autopsy report said that blunt force trauma to the head and face. He had broken bones all throughout his body, broken bones, and his hand was missing as well. That was. So where are the other body parts?
Mr. Calloway, you were saying your mic was off.
I said he was shot 3 times too. That's what I was told. He was shot 3 times.
Lord
too.
have mercy.
Yeah.
Okay, so part 2 is coming up, and Brother William, please. Well, of course, we're going to read the final call, but we look forward to doing that in our prayers. Please relay our prayers and condolences and our sincere love to our sister too. Yeah, you're right.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I just have to make one more comment, if I may.
Okay.
About the strength that it takes for a mother to endure this.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
She initially was invited to the show, but she said she didn't know how she felt, and I had to respect that.
Oh yes.
Because this is still living in her mind as if it happened just this afternoon.
Yeah.
22 years later, a tape just running over and over with no justice, and to be harassed on top of that by local law enforcement. It's
That's right.
absolutely tragic, and if I may add, disgusting that a government that prides itself on human rights around the world would do this to its own people. It's a
Thank you,
shame.
brother. Thank you, Brother William, for that. And thank you, Mr. Calloway.
Yes, ma'am.
So we look forward to, and she's already spoken. We have her words here, and just look at them. We have to go because I'm going to go into another place. I'm getting like Brother Malik in the last segment now. I'm full. So thank you all for tuning
Yes,
into
ma'am.
Liberated
Thank you.
Sisters.
Thank
May
you.
Allah
Thank
continue
you.
to bless
Thank
us
you.
and bless you
Thank you.
all.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
God bless.